All right. Part two of our episode with Jeremiah Carson. He can actually hear Lee this time.
Part two.
Awesome.
Jeremiah, if you didn't hear me say it before, I also want to thank you for your service. I've had a lot of military people in my family and some who are still serving, and I really, really do appreciate it. So just wanted you to know that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support.
Yeah. All right, so back to it.
All right.
What were you guys talking about?
All right, we gotta. Yeah, where did we turn? Yeah, where did we leave off? All right, so we talked about Mile High. We talked about Green Street. We talked about NOCO. Let's just go straight into what are your thoughts on the Masters last weekend?
Man, it was. So I was at work, so I had to sneak it in. I had to watch it on my phone, try to sneak it in, and but it was great. It was great to see. It was great to see Marco get back into it a little bit. It's good to see our old boy Mark Noble, man, just passing it. He's kind of come into like a rare form these last couple games, and yeah, it's good to see.
Play Tottenham. That's what it was. He wanted to play Tottenham.
Well, maybe it's the carpet too. You never know.
The carpet. Listen. If it weren't for the bad offside call on Perez's goal that he should have scored, we'd have basically a perfect record carpet, or close to it anyway. We've conceded goals. We'd be undefeated on the carpet. So, since the installation of the carpet, yeah.
No, that's true. That's true, and no, I think it does look nicer. I mean, nobody can deny that it definitely looks nicer around the stadium now. Looks more like a home. Obviously, it's not a home quite yet. It is our home, but there's still a lot that needs to be fixed to make that happen. But whatever. I mean, that's a step in the right direction, I guess. At least
I think, and we've talked about this a lot, but I think that if next season we're healthy, if VAR helps some of the calls go our way, because I don't think we're that far from being a top 6, top 7 type club. I'm serious about that. I don't think we're that far. I think everybody will love the stadium if this time next season we're in a serious battle to get into Europe. I think it won't matter where we play. I think we could play in my backyard and it'd be fine.
No, I think the same thing. I think that if we would have played 60% of the games like we have the last couple matches, we would easily be 6th or 7th right now.
We did.
Go ahead, Tim.
Go ahead.
The only thing I would say about Southampton, and I don't want to rain on the parade at all. They didn't necessarily play their best team. They're probably pretty relieved to be safe. I don't know that that's a game we could really look at and say it's an indicator of what we're going to be like next season, because I don't think that they put out a tremendous effort, even though I think we were very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we wouldn't have beaten them anyway. But I'm a little cautious. No, Tottenham's different because that was huge. That was a gigantic win, and that was historic. And Tottenham are still, in a Champions League fight, and in the Champions League itself as well. So that was different. But Southampton, to me, I'm a little cautious about saying, glory days next season, because look, Arnie scored twice and we played really well. The end of the season is weird. It doesn't necessarily mean anything for when August comes around.
Yeah, no, that's true. My thing is that I don't know if we're just this whole season we've been teased and then slapped in the face and then teased and then the start of the season with the 4 losses, that was ridiculous. Nobody would have expected that, especially after the money we spent and we hired a new manager. But at the same time, if you look back, it does kind of make sense because it was all new players pretty much. Our squad was pretty much mostly new players and a new mentality, a new system that we run still. And in our mind is, we spent £100 million. We got this former, title winner for a manager, and things are just going to be top 6, and it didn't quite pan out that way. So we got frustrated, and then things turned around, and we started winning games, and then our Narvik thing happened, and then everybody got pissed again, and then the performance started sucking, and then now we've seen, even since the Liverpool match, and then the Newcastle match, and then the City match. I mean, we've been showing some really, really good matches, but it's never been the same lineup. But again, I'm guilty of it, bitching about it. But at the same time, it's a a building progress. I mean, it's a, what do you call it? A work in progress. And this is Pellegrini's first season. And I do trust Pellegrini to, have a much better season next year when he can get more of what he wants for players inside. Now he knows what players that can't play with his, his system. And I think that next year will definitely be a lot better and more realistically have a much better chance of getting top 7 next year. And yeah, I just think that we were all like, we were in this tidal wave, up and down, up and down, up and down. We got our hopes up and then we didn't. And then we're like, oh, it's a terrible season then. Well, we were in it. But now that the season's almost over, I mean, if you look back, it's like, no, it's a work in progress. And we're doing better than we were the year before. And shit, the things could be better. My only gripe, though, before I pass it on to you guys, this last match in particular, the Southampton match, is that Grady Diangana was the only youth player on the squad.
Yeah, I don't. Holland, yeah, I wanted to see Holland there. I don't know if he was not fit or something. He wasn't even on the bench. That disappointed me. I agree.
Yeah, no. Where's Ben Johnson? Where's everybody else? You know what I mean? There's other players too, like Nathan Trott. I mean, there's all these other guys that they could have, Connor Coventry, somebody. But I guess what happened was they gave him the new contract, Nathan Holland, and said, okay, well, we're going to let you sign this new contract. We're going to put you all over social media if you promise, you won't be upset that you don't play the last couple of games.
Maybe
you don't get appearances. I don't know. Maybe that was his consolation prize. I don't know.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I agree. I think that I wanted to see more youth, and maybe we do this weekend, but I doubt it. Now the Watford match is between what, 9th and 10th, I think, or 10th and 11th.
If we win, we finish 10th. That's guaranteed.
Yeah.
With
who knows?
Points, which would be 10. I think 9 or 10 more than last season. So.
Yeah. And you go back to the beginning of the season. I know I said it. A lot of people said it, that if we finish anywhere around 10th, I've heard 11th, even 12th, they would be okay. They'd be happy. And then the bad times happened, the good times happened. Christmas time came, and Arnie screwed it all up for a while. And that's just it being a West Ham fan, man. It's up and down. I feel like it's never been like constant. It's always going all over the place. And
it never has. If you talk to longtime supporters, they'll tell you the same thing. If you read the books about West Ham, they'll all say the same thing. Periods of brilliance followed by absolute incompetence. I'm wondering what you think about Arnie, because I have gone from I never want to see him in the shirt again to we absolutely must keep him to I don't know what to think now. I mean, I do think he's obviously had 2 goals on Saturday, but again, I temper that with the fact that it was a Southampton side that I think was not superb. But he played well against Tottenham. He had the assist for the goal against Tottenham. He's put out better effort lately. We don't have a wealth of other strikers. Maxi Gomez is probably going to stay up with Celta, so it's going to cost us a lot more than he would have otherwise. What do you think, Jeremiah? Does Arnie stay? Do we need him? Do we want him?
I've gone so back and forth on this for a long time, and I just don't know. I think obviously before this match, maybe before last match, I was clearly ship him off. And then this happens, and even last match, you go back to against Tottenham, that was a beautiful ball in. I mean, absolutely beautiful ball in, and well done, and so it's tough to say. Even after this match, I was like, no, we're still going to sell him. We're still going to sell him. But thinking about it, if we sell him, if we have this kind of attitude that we're kind of having, are we kind of slated because of Payet or somebody else like that from the past? Just kind of giving this bad kind of attitude. But I don't know. I think that me personally, I think we still sell him unless he does something crazy that he comes out publicly, has one of those videos that he has, and says that he wants to stay with the club. I'm willing to forgive him, but I just don't think his heart's there. I think I'm still too broken to think that maybe he's just playing better now. Maybe he's playing better now to get his transfer fee up. And I know there's the whole thing with the.
That's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't want to get negative with you guys, but
I think the other thing we have to think about, right, is our transfer budget. Now, originally we heard it was going to be $25 million. That's not much at all.
Yeah.
That doesn't come close to the tax and donuts. Then we heard we're going to be more like 60. But we've known all along that we'd have to sell some players to get more transfer budget.
Yeah.
He's got to be, unless we do something insane, which I really hope we do not do, like sell Declan Rice, which if we do that, then I think it's going to devastate us as fans and it's going to hurt the club immensely, at least at his age. But unless, of the players we actually could or should sell, he's going to be the most valuable. And so the question is, do you take that chance? And how much do you get for him? Can we still get 25 million for him or 30? Is he worth that much? I have no idea. If he is, do we add 30, 40% to our transfer budget with him and say, all right, let's go find somebody else to replace him? Or do we go with the devil we know? I don't really know.
It's tough. It's really tough. And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there some type of like a transfer fee? There's something out there, right? That they could just
part of the money would go to Stoke.
Yeah.
It goes back to the club that he was with before, and it trickles back. So yeah, we wouldn't get the whole thing. Yeah.
I just don't know. I'm torn. I want to forgive him, but it's tough. It's tough to actually do that. I mean, after the way we were going, and you can directly reflect that to him saying he wanted to go to China, he wanted to leave. I feel like you can, because when that happened, everything went back down. And
did. There's no question about it. And we were so burned by Dimitri Payet.
Yeah.
I think his situation was very different. I mean, I personally believe that Payet left West Ham to save his family, and I don't like the way he did it. But if that's the reason he did it, I respect it. Arnautovic was about money 100%. Not about competition, not about anything else. It was 100% about money. His brother trying to get rich off of him trying to get rich by going to China and ending his career, basically. That's what bothers me, is that I don't think there was a personal motivation. It was just money. He's just a mercenary, and he'll do it to us again. That's what worries me. We get halfway through the season, we're cruising again, we get into January, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, maybe I'll go play in Germany. Maybe I'll go play in, Bangladesh. I don't know, wherever they're going to offer me the money. That's what worries me.
Well, your buddy
all happened again.
Your buddy Ken makes a good point in the chat room over here. He says that if we do sell him, we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot, like we usually do, and we'll end up with Hugel and unable to sign anybody else.
Well, that's the problem. No, Ken is right. Ken is usually right about what he says about West Ham anyway. But that's the problem I have, is that I don't trust this board to sell Arnautovic and then properly replace him. That's the biggest problem. I remember the Carlos Baca scenario when Baca was a sure thing to come to West Ham. Who'd we get? We got Andre Ayew that summer. And we got Zaza last summer instead of, the 3 or 4 players we were linked with. So I
don't think Ayew was that bad, man. I thought Ayew was pretty damn good. I just thought that, again, just like Arnautovic, he's played out of position.
I guess he was okay. I don't know. I feel as though, let's just put it this way, he didn't end up being what we needed for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what Arnautovic can do for us. The question is, will he do it for us for all season? I hope so, because I think if he does, he's still one of the better strikers in the Premier League. But again, do we take the chance of having him crater the whole team again at some point in the season? I don't know.
I don't think Fusilos would let that happen. I think he's going to have a lot to say about that, about the transfers that come in, and I don't think he's going to let the board really do that. This is a 2 to 3 year plan, like they agreed upon contract. When they first signed Fusilos and Pellegrini, that is a building process, and they want their hands solely on the transfers going forward.
Yeah.
So that's the case. I do kind of trust that, we possibly would reinvest properly. But again, I think what they see is that the transfer window ahead doesn't look that good. And that's why Pellegrini was saying, maybe we should keep Arnie. Next year he'll have a good season with us.
Well, that's what he's coming back.
Yeah.
He'll come back and have a great season next season. So, the message from Pellegrini was very strong this weekend. He's coming back. He's going to have a great season. It really wasn't very ambiguous. The question is, does he get to make that decision? Supposedly, yes. But Jeremiah, how much do you trust the board?
Yeah, you still get it. I still don't.
That's a loaded question.
That's a tough. I'm happy. I'm happy with the majority of the transfers that came in this last window. You compare that to the last couple seasons, and it's leaps and bounds. But yeah, still no trust. There's not a lot of trust there. We've had so many years, like you said, with Zaha and Ayew. Ayew was okay, but even then, getting rid of Ayew when he was still playing good, and Faguli, when I feel like Faguli was playing good at the time.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Fuck, no, I wish we still had him, man.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, Torre was kind of garbage, but Faguli was a good. He really wasn't. Oh, yeah.
That was a Bilic signing, man.
Yeah.
That was the skiest, man. Oh God, we'll have a Bilic conversation another day. I've had enough of that bullshit.
I'm not a fan of Bilic. He got lucky. He had Payet. He had that Payet season when we could do no wrong, basically because we had Payet and Bilic got. Bilic is a terrible manager. His whole track record is terrible. Sorry.
You fucking let go James Tompkins and the whole world went to shit.
That's right.
Well,
you had James Tompkins and they year and then they get rid of him and then they go to shit.
What was Croatia's record when he managed Croatia? Because 20 years
or the fuck.
Shit.
Well, 20 years ago, Croatia was in the World Cup semifinal in 1998, and then in 2018, Croatia were in the World Cup final. Obviously, there are some players in Croatia, but he didn't quite get the same performance out of them that nobody else did. You know. Yeah, I think there's a reason he's doing a lot of TV stuff now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that he was part of that season. Bringing some history back to it. But yeah, I'm not a fan. He let people play way out of position. Let people go that if they were still in the squad now, who knows what we'd be.
Yeah,
I think Avram Grant would have had a good season that year with those players.
That's what I'm saying.
I
think almost any manager when we had lightning in a bottle with Payet and a good team around him too.
Yeah,
I think almost any manager could have stepped in and had at least a mid-table finish. And we only finished 7th. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
So we didn't exactly set the world on fire, but we were better than usual. But that came down to our players. After the Tottenham game, I said it after the Tottenham game. I loved all of our players so much I didn't want to see any of them go.
Let's keep them all.
Right, just keep them all. That's starting 11 every match from here on out. But yeah, Arnautovic, I would like as a player. I think we need him to stay. I don't think strikers are not easy to replace. We've had trouble recruiting strikers in the last few years. I think we have to be cautious. That's all. Just be cautious. I don't know what that even means. That's what I think.
I think we need. We obviously need new ownership, and I wish that would happen a lot sooner than later. But the point is, like you said, we can never trust the board. We don't know if they're going to honor what they had told the public that they were going to let Huselos and Pellegrini do their thing, and if that's all bullshit, I mean, that's just another nonsense. I mean, most likely it is, but I would just hope that they let the fucking people do the job. They let the management, they let the director of football do their job, and with all this free wage money that's coming up, you know what I mean? These hundreds of thousands of pounds in wages that are going to be opening up. You think that a director of football and Pellegrini would find the right people to come in, even on frees and stuff like that. But what we got to stop seeing is these 30-plus-year-olds.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying I wouldn't like Edin Dzeko. I mean, I would have loved to have him in the club. I mean, because he's just still at his age a fantastic fucking striker, and so is, honest to God, fucking Van Persie's still fantastic at his age. I mean, I would take a fucking 38-year-old if they're elite. But what we're not looking at is elite players. We're looking at fucking players on relegated teams. That why do we want players from relegated teams? I can't grasp that. What do you think, Gemma?
No, I completely agree. Man, I don't know. I don't know what the question is, and I hope that.
Well, so far, my point is, so far, it's either 30-plus-year-olds or players on relegated teams. That's all been linked to thus far.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, dude. Bringing in Sanchez, players like that, it's okay, I guess, but it's not going to get us to where we want to go. It's not going to get us up to what we want, and that's the most frustrating part. Is when we talk about all this money, we talk about moving to this new stadium and this new place, and I've heard it said a million times. I wish it was just said out front. Hey, it's going to be a process. It's going to take some time, but they send all these hype videos and all these things about like, oh, this is going to be right now and this is going to happen right now. Everything else is just bullshit. It's all been bullshit.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. And if the board had said, we need to move to the new stadium because without it, we will not be a viable Premier League club for much longer.
Yeah.
It might have been harder to sell, all right? I get that. It might have been harder to sell. It's easier to go out and say, hey, new stadium, we're going to be top 6, we're going to cruise into Europe. I understand it's a harder sell, but it's more honest to say, you know what? Look around us. I mean, Tottenham, new stadium. Arsenal have a huge stadium. Manchester United have always had one. Manchester City have a brand new stadium, and it's not just them. There's other clubs up and down the leagues that they're moving into new places. I think what they needed to say was, we have to replace let's be honest, somewhat dilapidated 35,000 seat stadium, or we are going to be an elevator club. We're going to be a Cardiff, or we're going to be a Bournemouth, or we're going to be, because that's what happens to clubs with grounds like that. Instead, they said, you're absolutely right. They put out hype videos and they said, oh, now we're going to sign Messi and Ronaldo and all the world's great players. I mean, that was never going to happen. But it's hard, it was hard not to listen to that and think, yeah, we should see some improvements. We have seen improvements. They're just not what we expected because the hype was too great.
Right.
Let me ask you both a question. All right, but this is for both you guys. Now, half of our squad, I mean, they're getting up there in age. They really are. I mean, yeah, we have a lot of up-and-coming youngsters, supposedly. There's so much hype around them, etc. Yeah, fantastic. But we really don't know unless they start playing games. The only one we've really seen was Ben Johnson once, and we've seen Brady and Ghana a bunch of times, and he really wasn't that special.
No, that's
so far, in my opinion. But anyway, my question though is, what's your thought on the 30-year-olds that we have on the team, the 30-plus-year-olds like Mark Noble? Like, obviously he's a club legend, he's the team captain, and he's been playing fantastic as of late. Is he still going to be continuing with us for another 2-3 years? And what about Robert Snodgrass, Mr. McMessy? I noticed you there. He's going to be 32 years old next September. I mean, this September, I'm sorry, 32. And Michael Antonio is 30 years old. He'll be 31 next season. It's like these guys aren't getting that much younger either. Right. So when do we start letting them move on before they get too old to even sell?
Good question. What do you think, Jeremiah?
No, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Noble, you got to keep him for as long. He's a club legend. Hopefully he stays with the club after he retires. But a good question is posed is the fact that how many more years is he actually going to start? If we're going to be relevant, if we're going to keep climbing the table, how many years does he actually keep starting? And maybe that answer is 2. Maybe it's 1. Mm-hmm. I don't really know. If he keeps playing like he has the last 2 matches, I mean, just keep letting him play. I think even re-signing or letting Zabaleta kind of do that contract extension, that's a security thing. I think to let Fredericks get another year kind of under his belt. But you're right. Mikhail's getting older. Snodgrass, who I love. I wouldn't make the T-shirts if I didn't. But but yeah, eventually you got to part ways, and it's tough, especially with players like those two that have kind of given their all, even in rough times. With Antonio, when he got put right back for like a whole entire season. He
around the club, like in the dressing room too.
Yeah.
Like
him and Snodgrass getting slated off by even ownership and going, getting loaned out. And
what Karen Brady did to him was disgusting. Mentioned by name in the Sun in that garbage newspaper.
Yeah, and then they came back. So they came back and they've played with their heart. So it's tough to say you got to see them go, but if we want to stay the West Ham we've always been, then sure, keep them for until they retire. But if we want to move on and we want to press up the top 6 and top 4 might seem a little lofty, but you got to look at other players. Yeah.
The way I look at those guys, Tim and Jeremiah, is I think of them as guys who are going to give you maybe 18, 20 games a year between starts and substitute appearances. They're not going to be on for 38 a year. I don't know how many players are, but they're not. There's no, those guys at their age with their form and their ability. Nobody there is a Declan Rice who's going to step out for you, or a Balbuena if he's not injured, or an Issa Diop, or who's going to step out for you 30, 32 times a season and give you a very solid performance. Those guys have streaks of form where they play well, streaks where they don't play well. They're getting older. I don't think they're going to be able to stand the grind of 38 league games plus cup runs or whatever if we try to make any of those. We have too many players, I think, who can't bring consistency because they just don't have the ability anymore to come and do it match after match. And that's one of the reasons why we see so many lineup changes, one of the reasons why we see we see West Ham come out one week and look fantastic, the next week look terrible, because they're not week by week players. You need these guys who are 22, 23, 24 years old, who are skilled, who are consistent, who are hopefully a little less injury prone. And that's where I think we're weak. We're never going to find 11 Declan Rices. I would love to. about 11 Declan Rices, we'd win the championship. So we're not going to do that. But we need more than one or two. You know, we need more than one or two who are just consistent, solid, healthy players. You know they're going to give a maximum effort every week. You know it's going to be, it's going to be a solid performance every week. We don't have enough guys like that. Snodgrass, I love him.
Yeah, Cresswell.
He's inconsistent.
Cresswell's going to be 30 in December as well.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Yeah. So they're all getting up there. And listen, it's funny how us as West Ham fans, and I say that loosely because the majority of the West Ham fans will say, I mean, we're super loyal. We want people to stick around until they croak, and then at the same time, as soon as a player leaves, like they're
dead to us.
Judas. We get rid of them. We fucking hate them. Absolutely dead. So that's why we tend to hang on to the people that we love so much, like Antonio, or we want to hang on to him, or we want to hang on to Snodgrass. I don't want them to go. I mean, obviously, they're fantastic, but if they go, fuck off then. But realistically, as a club, like you said, man, we want to make it to the next level. I mean, even I guess John in the chat room here is saying, well, what about Rice, selling Rice? You know what I mean? Getting rid of that's again. I say fucking no, man. It's
that's
you don't want to get rid of the youth, but at the same time that money could be reinvested, and we're not going to get that much money for anybody else in the team.
It's
at this stage.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I hate Tottenham. We all hate Tottenham. You can't deny that it's a well-run club. They sold Gareth Bale. They sold him out of England, which is the biggest thing to me. They sold him away from the Premier League so he doesn't come back to haunt you.
But they bought 4 fucking slubs that ended up not doing anything.
Well,
that's why people tend to forget. I mean, they had that fucking striker. I forgot his fucking name. A guy from Argentina or something like that, Spain. But they started him a bunch of games. He scored like 4 goals in like 30 games.
Yeah.
So that would be a great return for one of our strikers, by the way. I'm just saying. But no, they've pursued this whole strategy of we used to do this too. West Ham, we've always been a selling club, and we used to do the same thing, but they have reinvested more wisely than we have, quite honestly. And I think they have more money than we do anyway, so I don't think it's necessarily a fair apples-to-apples comparison because I think they have wealthier owners more willing to spend. But their reinvestment has been bigger and wiser than ours. And if we did sell, I would hate to see us sell Declan Rice right now because he's 20 years old or 21. I think he's 20. I'd love for him to get to at least like 22 or 23 with us, before we finally decide, okay, let's cash in on him. And I think he may be worth twice what he's worth now in 3 years. But I mean, by the same token, if we wisely invested £75 million and brought 3 or 4 players, it's a model that can work if you're smart about it and if you have the right people in place doing it.
So I half retract my statement because they did get Christian Eriksen out of that deal, but they ended up buying 7 different players with that money, including Chadley and Soldado was the guy I was talking about. I mean that particular season that they sold him. That first season, they had bought Soldado, and he was pretty much one of the primary strikers, and he did shit. And there's a couple other guys that aren't even there anymore, but another one that's still there would be Lamella. But other than that, Eriksen and Lamella, there's really nothing they got out of it. But they got fucking Christian Eriksen. I mean, I guess I take that back.
And they had the money to waste. The argument that you guys hear about in baseball, right? And to give it a little if you're the Yankees or the Red Sox, you can go out and buy some pretty crappy players. And if they don't pan out, it really doesn't matter. You just go buy some more. You know what I mean? If you can go out and get Pablo Sandoval, and if he's not any good, who cares?
Yeah.
You've got the money to go out and buy somebody else like that. This is what I think about Tottenham. They got all that money from Bale and a few other players. So they had $100 million to blow, on top of what the transfer budget would have been anyway.
Yeah.
If they make some bad moves, it doesn't hurt them that much. If we
it
hurts us a lot,
Yeah, I know. Like £100 million ain't shit now. You know what I mean? If you think about it, like that was just a few seasons ago, like 3 or 4 seasons ago, and yet that's nothing now. I mean, you can't buy 7 fucking players with that money anymore.
You're absolutely right. The inflation has gone through the roof. Neymar and a few other players and Paul Pogba and some of these guys who were outrageous sums, they threw off the whole market for transfers.
Yeah.
Now a very mediocre player is a £25 million player.
All I ask is for the love of God that they don't West Ham it up. You know what I mean? If they're gonna transfer him in a couple of years, do it out of the Premier League. You know,
I agree.
don't
Yeah.
don't let it go to Tottenham. Don't let him go to Chelsea or somewhere like that. Like, just. But I mean, I would love to keep him. I mean, he could be the next Mark Noble. He could be the next.
Oh, he could
You
be
could,
the
you
next
could go down the list. He could be the Billy Bonds, whatever. Yeah.
There could be a Declan Rice stand.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there could be. You know, it's just this day and age.
Yeah,
I mean, the days of Tony Gwynn are gone. You know,
Yeah,
the days
yeah.
of. I'm sorry to use that analogy, but nobody sticks with the fucking teams anymore. I mean, the days of Mark Noble. I mean, he's the last of his kind, really.
Yeah.
He's a rare breed, and the thing about Mark Noble is, as much as I love him, he's never been quite good enough to be sought after by other clubs in any serious way. Do you know what I mean? Mark Noble was never a £100 million player, even though I love him and he's West Ham, and he has these moments when he's really great. Rice is a guy whose value, if he stays healthy, is going to increase and increase and increase. There's nothing I would love more than for him to be the next Billy Bonds. I just, know, for him to be England captain and West Ham captain and a legend as we play in Europe. We've just almost never had players like that. You can pretty much, and I'm talking about the history of the club, you can count them on like one hand. Brooking, Bonds, Bobby Moore. I mean, and listen, Billy Bonds, for as great as he was, I'm not sure he ever actually played for England. I think he was selected. I'm sure he was actually capped. So, I mean, the point is, this is a guy who could be in our top 5 of all time ever. But the players we've had come through like that in the last 15, 20 years, like Rio Ferdinand or Jermaine Defoe or Michael Carrick, we haven't held on to him, and it's going to be hard to hold on to him. It just is.
That's another thing. So that's another thing, though. So we were talking about Billy Bonds and Mark Noble, especially, though. I feel that people aren't pissed enough about the fact that we didn't make a solid attempt at the Cups this year, because
I agree.
We were talking earlier. We don't know how many more years Mark Noble has left. And if Mark Noble doesn't get a trophy, I don't care if it's the Carling Cup or the Caribou Cup or whatever the fuck it's called. If he doesn't get a fucking trophy for his career, I mean, other than the Betway Cup, it's not going to be the same. There's going to be no statue versus, if Rice comes in and the Pellegrini happens and we end up getting a better manager even after that, and down the road we win some trophies, at least a European trophy or something like that. Rice, we'll build a fucking statue for Rice, but we'll totally forget about what happened to Mark Noble because he didn't win a fucking trophy.
100% right. I
agree.
So where's the urgency? You know what I mean? I mean, everybody in the club knows that he doesn't have many years left. Even the fucking players around him, like, let's,
well, the FA
do
Cup,
one up for him. Shit.
Our competition. I mean, it's the only major trophy we've won that still exists. The only other one, of course, was the European Cup Winners' Cup in the '60s, and that hasn't existed for a long time.
Yeah. The
FA Cup is the only trophy West Ham have won that means anything. So, other than the World Cup, of course, but even that was, different scenario. And also before I was born. But I'm with you. I think we absolutely have to make, and I'm with you too. League Cup, FA Cup, I don't care which one.
Mark doesn't matter.
Deserves a cup run. He deserves a trophy. Look what our women just did. I mean, I know they lost the final, but this is their first season in the full professional league, and they cruised. Well, they didn't cruise, but they made it to the FA Cup final. We could have had a run this season, man. All we had to do is beat Wimbledon, and everybody else, other than Manchester City, everybody else was very beatable. We could be We could be where Watford. It's extremely frustrating to me that we didn't go for that.
You said it right there. All we had to do was beat Wimbledon, and that was a shit show. That was awful. That was terrible.
The low point of our season, although I don't know, that Cardiff match away was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad too.
So was Everton. Well, the low point for us was Everton at home, because that's when we had the thing in Boston, and the match was so terrible. But anyway, I'm with you, Tim.
All right. Well,
he deserves a trophy. He does. He deserves a trophy, and it's gonna be a cup. It's not gonna be the league. We all know that. Everybody knows that. So
So anyway, let's fucking do it. But that I think it could happen next year, maybe the year after. I mean, he doesn't have many years left. Let's at least give it a shot. But real quick, pretty much out of time. I do apologize to all of our viewers for having to watch 2 of these videos. Don't even bother watching the first one. That was just a nightmare. But you do get to hear Jeremiah's story, at least in the first one. We did have a lot better conversation this time around because you could hear Lee, and my internet was a little bit better. I'll take the blame.
I don't know if it was better with me or not. I can't decide.
It was better. It was better.
It's much better. don't have to repeat myself, man, and it looks just awkward, you know, having to say the
yeah.
same shit. But anyway, just wanted to, once again, thanks Travelcraft. I do want to thank Jeremiah for coming on, and I really appreciate that, man. And sorry for all the, you know, starting it over and all that other good shit, but I thought it was good talking. We had some good conversation here at the end, especially, and would love to have you back sometime so we can have a complete episode with you.
Yeah, right.
And everybody who wants to, you know, check out Green Street Hammers. They have, you know, social media presence, but they also, SoundCloud or iTunes or both?
Both. Yeah, both of them.
Both.
iTunes for sure. Yeah.
All right, so check them out on iTunes. Green Street Hammers. It's pretty simple. Good stuff over there. I really appreciate your time tonight. And Lee, thank you, man, as always.
Yeah, always, Tim. Thanks to both of you. Thanks for everybody for being
All right, guys. So real quick before we leave, I got to mention our upcoming episodes because we got quite a few coming up. And let's see. That ain't it. Oh, yeah. Holy City Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So Thursday night, we're going to have Gary back from Holy City Hammers down in South Carolina to give us some stories that he told us off the air that are, you know, we're dying to let you hear.
That's an NC-17 episode, by the way. Because Gary.
Yeah. So moms, stay home. Don't watch. But everybody else, please tune in. Kostya from DC Irons is going to be a guest host with us along with that one. So it'll be me, Lee, and Kostya, and then interviewing Gary. I don't think we're doing anything for Mother's Day, which is the 12th. We were tentative to have Gonzo during the day from Hammers Chat, but I don't quite know yet because it's Mother's Day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I'm not doing anything on Mother's Day. Sorry. There's no. When my mother lives with us, my wife and I have 2 kids. I got 2 mothers in the house. Mother's. Unfortunately, that's just like I think that's out.
It's all good. So, but you know, there's still a chance we might do something because that was the one date I sent him a bunch of dates, and that was the one date that he said he was available. So we might do that. Sean from New York City Hammers Part 2 was scheduled for the 16th of May, but we have to reschedule with him because he can't do it in that day. So I don't know. We'll figure something out with Sean. And then we have Arizona on the 19th. We have Los Angeles on the 26th. And then we have a bunch of stuff in June. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing a lot more UK guests as well.
Yep. Working on a lot of stuff. A lot of special stuff.
A lot of great stuff. It's just we got to get these people to commit in the dates. I sent out the dates. Now we're going to wait to hear back from them. And once they confirm, I will announce it to all of you. So thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, Lee. Thank you guys in the chat room. Thank you, Gabe, Wally, everybody else, Ken, so on. Come on, you Irons.